You guys had some questions about the How Does LTT Make Money video, and I'm not sure if we will answer all of them because I have not yet had a chance to read this document. I've been busy all day getting ready for our infrastructure test at Smash Champs. I guess we'll have to be talking about that because that is where Luke and I are going after this, because what better way to test the infrastructure for a LAN facility than to play video games all night?
Yeah.
I mean, there's really no other way to do it.
Yeah.
It's a tough job, but
I guess we'll
soldier.
To be there.
We'll soldier through.
Yeah.
We will.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. On March 25th, Linus Media Group Inc. uploaded The Truth About How LTT Makes Money, a video featuring several members of the team breaking down several income streams that contribute to LMG's revenue. Naturally, this spawned some discussion in our official but officially recognized subreddit, as well as on the LTT forum, and we thought we would try to address some of the speculation. Speculation number 1 from u/JustNNick attempted a breakdown showing that they did the math because they're able to see our Floatplane subscriber count and the percentage of the chart that was Floatplane and extrapolate from there, guessing that our revenue number is somewhere between $32.6 and $65.3 million. Elijah responded to the post saying, "All I will say is this. If it was this simple to figure out the number, we probably wouldn't have included that in the video. There are several factors not taken into account. Also, the range you just gave was fucking massive LMAO." However, I will add to Elijah's response that, yeah, it probably is somewhere in that range.
There's factors to it that help it be higher, and there's factors to it that help it be lower. One of the help it be lower ones is that I don't think this person factored in OG subs, which are actually $3.
Yeah, and we have a fair number. How many OG subs do we have?
Quite a few.
Like
I don't know
hundreds or thousands?
Not hundreds.
Okay.
Definitely not hundreds. A lot more than hundreds.
That's too bad.
And
those $3 subs really... wow, do they ever not...
They don't cost us money. We make money off of them.
Yeah, but they don't add up as fast as the other ones. I'll tell you that much.
Just do a lot better, yeah. Because it's like delta over your costs, right?
Yes.
So when it... Yeah, anyways, I don't need to explain that.
And the $3 subs also have more overhead associated with collecting that payment because every payment has a fixed cost as well as a percentage of the overall transaction. So
yeah, a higher percentage of it is like transaction fees and stuff like that. So like it doesn't even make it to us. It just goes to PayPal or Stripe.
Basically, with how much you pay in fees and taxes and overhead, you might as well just not even run it. Why am I even here? You know what?
just pitches the headphones. Another thing that I would say though is we lowered the range a little bit there, but another thing that I would say to increase the range is that we're not the only creator on the platform, and there's other creators contributing to that pie.
Yeah.
Some of them very significantly. So yeah. Dankpods has
sorry, I had
quite a few subscribers.
I had something upside down stuck in my throat there.
There's actually a decent amount of creators on Floatplane that I like just really actively watch their content on Floatplane.
Yeah.
Which is like kind of sick.
Well, yeah, because Floatplane's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, you don't have to subscribe to all of them.
Yeah.
Do you?
I have.
Do you? Yeah, really? Okay.
Yeah. If I follow a channel for technical reasons, I won't pay for the sub.
Okay.
But if I'm like, I want to support this creator, I'll just pay for the sub. I'd have to if it was on Patreon.
Very cool.
So like,
yeah, I don't know. No, it's the right thing to do, I would think. Speculation number...
So like, there's one. I have at a time directly subscribed. I don't know if I am right now.
The main LTT channel.
Go ahead.
I have at a time been directly subscribed to Dankpods, for instance, because there was a while where my sleep schedule was all whack. So I was awake more often when he was actively streaming, and I would just have his drum stream in the background while I was working. So it was like, yeah, I mean...
Nice.
I'm just actually watching this like for fun content. So
that's understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, Wade's super cool.
Yeah.
Speculation number 2. Since some channels contributed so little, that's why they were shut down. So the reference here is, of course, to the not LTT or Short Circuit or TechLinks channels, because you got to remember, for most of last year, actually even LMG Clips earns more than TechQuickie Game Linked. MAC address is in there somewhere. Channel super fun. There is... Okay, hold on. I'm going to read the official response first. It is worth noting. Yes, good. It is worth noting that chart only shows AdSense, not sponsorships, which when one channel uploads 15 videos over the course of an entire year, and another channel uploads almost 2 videos a day, in the case of LMG Clips, well, of course, that channel is going to make less AdSense, but there is more to the revenue of a channel than just AdSense, and that was one of the points that we were trying to drive home in this video is...
AdSense is like a smaller part of the pie these days.
How does the creator economy work exactly? How do these numbers break down at an organization that isn't just a YouTube channel?
And not every YouTube channel will follow, and I think we say this in the video, but not every YouTube channel will follow similar splits to what we have.
No.
But this is ours.
No, not at all, but this is ours. Point number 2 on this one is the shutting down of the channels was never about the money. I made that explicitly clear at the time, and I know that there is a cohort of people that believe that every time I open my mouth, I am lying. That is not in fact the case. If I say it wasn't about the money, I can't tell you what it was about. It means it wasn't about the money, but I can't give you any more detail about what exactly it was about. At the end of the day, we made a decision to pause the production, to focus on the areas we needed to focus on and make LMG as awesome as it can possibly be. All right. Speculation number 3 was that we should have just said how much money we make in the video. Some people said big companies show their revenue all the time. Why can't LMG? And the answer is that because those publicly traded companies by law are required to disclose certain aspects of their finances for their shareholders. LMG is still a private company and we don't have to go as far as we did, but we made a decision to do so knowing that a lot of people, the ones who care anyway, are going to go and do the math for themselves anyway. And realistically, coming back to speculation number 1, probably end up in the right range or so. The thing that you guys don't know, of course, is what our expenses look like, what our overhead looks like. We have
probably higher than you think.
We have over 100 people on staff. Like we went from, I think in our first year, our total revenues were, I'm a little rusty on this. It was under $1 million though. Our total top line revenue was under $1 million in our first year of operation. And nowadays, I'll say this. Oh, okay. How do I not get too specific?
More than that.
Nowadays, depending on which period it's for, there are regularly pay periods where whether it's with expense reimbursements or whatever else, I'm going to keep this fuzzy, and that's intentional. But there are regularly pay periods where the overall withdrawal from the company's coffers is greater than that. It happens. Sorry, I mean a monthly. Back then we paid on a monthly basis.
Okay.
So there are months where our overall payroll expense is greater than the entire revenue for the company in our first year of operation. Of course, in the first year, that wasn't a huge problem because the entire employee count was me, Luke, Ed, Brandon.
Brandon didn't even start January 1st.
No. He started in like April or something like that. Yeah. Was it just the 4 of us after 1 year? Or had we added...
Were we in the new house before the end of the year?
We were.
So...
Oh, do you want to hear something scary? It is almost Colton's 10-year anniversary. Think about what that means. When did Colton start?
Right before we moved to the office. Wow.
Look at his face. Look at his face.
I was analyzing something that happened, and I was trying to I was looking at something, and I was like, okay, we shouldn't do this anymore. And then I was thinking back to myself in a similar role in the past.
Yeah.
Because I was like, how should I address this? And I was like, well, I've done this thing that we shouldn't do. So I'm trying to like put myself in those shoes to understand what it's like, right? And then I had the thought of like, that was 9 years ago. Because it was 2016.
I know.
Because I split off to do Floatplane stuff in 2017.
I know.
And I looked at the date and I was like,
Dude,
what?
Dude, it's wild.
Ugh.
Dude, it's wild. Anyway, there were some other questions that people had, some other assumptions we can talk about a little bit more if you guys want to leave a merch message. As you guys know from watching that video, if you did, merch, which I think is actually an unfair word to use to describe the products that our team creates, but
Agreed.
Our merchandise contributes an enormous amount of our company's revenues. I did see a lot of people talking about how there's a huge difference between revenue and profit. And I will say, before anyone bothers to ask this one, there is a very good reason that we don't get into the profitability of each of those segments of the business. And the reason is that we actually can't, really, at least not without adding a bunch of completely unnecessary administrative overhead. Like, how on earth would I tell you guys exactly what the cost is of actually tech-linked would be relatively easy because there's a small team that works on that for a finite number of hours every day.
And like, what's the value of the earnings of one department floating another department while they cook for a while and then make tons of money?
Well, okay, that we could kind of figure out. But where I was getting with this is, how do I determine the cost of an LTT video?
There's so many parts of that.
I would have to log every single hour of every single person involved, from the business team talking to clients, to procurement, sourcing product, to the labs team doing testing, to the writing team, to the shooting team, to the editing.
Involve the administrative stuff? Like, did they talk about this in their one-on-one?
With an executive?
Yeah.
Did anyone in accounting have to do any reconciliations for it?
Probably.
You could kind of try to approximate it. And
the sponsor money isn't free. A business person had to work to get it.
And we kind of do. We kind of do try to approximate those things in order to make sure that every aspect of the business is running in a healthy manner. And
clearly we're doing okay.
But if our whole goal with this type of transparency with you guys is that it's supposed to be accurate, then the most accurate way for us to do it is to give you something that we can actually trust, something that we know is actually accurate. So one of the things that a lot of people brought up is like, hey, with how much of the business is merch now, over 50%, why do they even bother with the video side? But it's murkier than that, right? Because a lot of that apparel sales and product sales is driven by that video production business. It's just that we've chosen to allocate the revenue into buckets this way. There are easily other ways that we could allocate it. Like if we created internal tracking links that we put under every single video, we could potentially track merchandise sales right back to individual videos, and we could have like a P&L for every single video production that we do. But then, we're going to have a team that sits there and runs all of this stuff, which a bigger business than us, if we were 250 people or 500 people instead of about 100-ish, might actually make sense for us to continue to, optimize and continue to do better or whatever. But right now, we're too busy doing stuff to analyze it to quite that degree. Another question that came up before you guys bother to send a merch message for this one is, hey, Linus, with how little of it is actually here. Hold on, I'm going to see if I can find the pie chart. With how little of it is actually those in video like pre-roll and end roll things. Why exactly do you bother including them? Can you just not do in video sponsor spots? It is a good question, and it is something that I have considered. But what I will say is that you got to remember, guys, this is revenue.
9% of the pie really isn't nothing.
So if we were to take 9% of this out, this is a very low cost aspect of our production, right? So we would be losing 9% of our revenue, but I'm just going to look at all the rest of this stuff. AdSense, sponsored
9%
projects.
is a massive section of the pie to just cut out.
This is probably, other than pasting affiliate links under videos, this is probably the lowest lift part of this entire pie. So you're not really asking us to cut out 9% of our revenue. You're asking us to cut out effectively 9%. Like, you're effectively asking us to cut out 9% of our revenue that was almost pure profit.
Yeah, that slice is much closer to profit than practically anything
Whereas,
else.
like, if you were to look at something like CW, right? Like, a huge chunk of this piece is just COGS, cost of goods sold. Like, it accounts for absolutely nothing other than us buying the product before we sell it to you. Huge. Then you've got, tooling and development. Then you've got, human resources. All of our products are designed here in Canada by our team here. So it's not like we're using just like cheap overseas labor and we're just like silk screening our logo onto a screwdriver or something. Like it's not like that. We're doing real design work. There's also, because of the famous Trust Me Bro guarantee that for whatever reason turned into a scandal, a significant amount of cost here in returns.
There was a reason.
Oh, there's a reason, but the reasons are far more complicated than just
I know. You just try to slip that in all the time.
And I do. You can trust me, bro, about that.
Oh man.
The point is that is a significant cost that we bear here. So if you were to say, okay, Linus, stop doing Creator Warehouse, I don't know this off the top of my head, but I will say with some degree of confidence that the actual profitability of this is probably not that far off of this.
Yeah.
With that said,
I mean, you could kind of say the same about AdSense, right? Like these aren't
why don't we just turn that off too?
Yeah. These aren't showing necessarily all the stuff that goes into it, because those, like in-video sponsor spots, AdSense, sponsored projects, those are laying on top of the video production crew.
Yes.
And in-video sponsor spots is also laying on top of the video production crew.
Yeah. So if we were just making the videos, right, our costs are the same regardless of whether we have AdSense and in-video sponsor spots. So I have thought about it. I have never gotten as far as discussing that as a possibility with the rest of the team. Unique username says, now I really want a profitability chart, but I can't because there's so many resources here. Like our talent and culture coordination team, HR, like our HR team, our accounting team. How do I allocate them? Like the accounting team does work for like Smash Champs sometimes. Do they log every one of those hours in a logbook? Does somebody audit that logbook? Like, come on, we don't need to do that. We don't have time for that. That's one of the major.
Some of it kind of does work that way, actually. Like,
yes, I know some does.
Yeah,
some of the development in particular. Yeah. However,
those are contractors.
That's a workflow that contract developers are like
kind of used to.
Like that's just part of it.
How it works.
When you're just an employee for a company that shares all the same ownership team or ownership group, there's no good reason to do that unless there's like, unless we're trying to kind of root out waste in some way. Like, hey, is this project not making sense? Because we're like really spending a lot of time on this. Like if we're kind of doing an investigation, then I would say that we would get into logging stuff like that. But just in terms of day-to-day operation, no, I don't think we would. Feel free to send some more merch messages if you have more questions. We do have a discussion question here from Elijah. Can Elijah have a raise because he did such a good job with this video and now knows how much the company makes? Okay, so two things, Elijah. Number one is no, you don't know how much the company makes. We already talked about that because you only see the revenue.
Get wrecked.
And number two, no.
Get wrecked.
Or maybe, but I'm actually not in charge of that. That was one of the big...
Hasn't been for a bit.
That was one of the big reasons that I wanted to let go of the leadership reins, because the reality of it was, while I've talked about this in the past, I could be CEO of the company. I didn't have time to really know what everyone was doing, how good of a job they were doing, did they deserve a raise, and then also be the primary host and that creative energy guy and sit on this podcast for 3 to 4.5 hours a week and like all the other things that I do. I didn't have time to do a good job, and so I'd be in these like annual reviews where we're talking about compensation, and it got to the point where I was like, if we get any bigger, I'm just going to be going on gut feel, which is not okay. That's not good enough. And so, no, I do not determine Elijah's compensation.
How has that been? Has it felt like a good... Because I know some things... I don't know this. I suspect some things you had hoped to let go of and probably weren't fully able to, just because it is how it is, not because someone wasn't doing things correctly. But I know that you were able to let go of. Has that felt like a weight off?
It's been hard because there are cases where I've felt like I want to be involved, but part of letting go of something is that you have to actually let go. And the second that I have someone come to me, like let's say you came to me and you were like, hey, I'm not happy with my compensation. The second I took that and I put my finger on the scale, now I'm basically in charge of it again.
Yeah.
Think about it, right? Because the second you do that, someone else is going to do that. And then someone else is going to do that. And then Taryn's going to be sitting there going, okay, well, what is the point of me even putting together these performance metrics and these reviews and these management layers and this budgeting? Why am I even doing any of this if Linus is just going to come in and say, oh yeah, well, like Luke's kind of my buddy outside of like the work that he does, and
do it this way.
Like he's blonde, so like that's cool. You know,
I mean, that's a problem in its own right.
Yeah. But like he's sexy, so you know, right? Like it's ridiculous. So
it's probably good that you don't do those things.
So you know, look, and it's one of those things where Luke's and my relationship is particularly complicated because we are friends, and he has talked to me about his compensation. But what I have to do is I have to basically say, okay, I am taking off my company hat, and I feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like I have given you, from the benefit of my experience, friend advice that is not necessarily aligned with the corporation's best interests.
I would also like to, so I agree. I would also like to put forward that I think I came to those conversations looking for that.
Yeah.
Not the other side.
100%.
So I think it worked out great. It is a very weird and complicated relationship. I think we really both do a pretty good job.
We try.
But sometimes it doesn't work out perfectly.
But what I didn't do and what I wouldn't do is take what he told me as a friend and raise it up the flagpole.
Which I also didn't want him.
Take it up the chain, because that's not the way that's supposed to work. The way it's supposed to work is if Luke has a concern, and I'm not saying Luke was complaining about his own pay. What I'm saying is that something to do with compensation, Luke had a concern that he wasn't sure how to approach, and he wanted to talk to me as a friend. So we did, but I can't put my thumb on the scale, because
and this isn't
a mistake.
Even necessarily one of those scenarios, but like, and I have struggled with this, and I've tried to coach people who manage people under me on this same thing. I struggle with it now. I will probably always struggle with it. You have to let certain things like fail.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, dude, it's so hard.
It's so painful.
Think about the number of ideas that you've either pitched me or heard pitched to me that I've been like, I do not believe this will work, but try anything twice.
Yeah.
How many times have you heard me say those words?
Quite a few times. Like, I don't think I could count it. You can't fit it on hands. I don't know how many times, but
it's so hard.
And it is tough. But like, and you have to also understand that when you're on the like receiving end of that, and I'm not saying this is one of those scenarios.
Yeah.
But in all of these scenarios, like anything that Linus had to give up, I think, can I say this?
I don't know. You can say anything you want. It's a free country.
I think
what am I going to do? Fire you?
A problem that we had when you and Yvonne were holding certain positions was that you guys wouldn't let certain things fail, sometimes too much.
Oh, yeah.
And then that like limits people's growth potentials. So sometimes you have to, like, as a manager, you have to weigh the, like, what is the loss of letting this thing fail versus the actual real loss of this person not learning this thing.
Dude, people have to learn things for themselves.
Yeah.
Do you know how many things?
You can't just tell people.
Dude, the number of things. Okay. Here's a perfect example.
Everyone.
Here's a perfect example that completely changed the trajectory of my life. Okay. When I was going into school, I joined the science program at UBC, and I was like, I don't know, I'll do whatever it is that science people do. And I had no idea what I wanted to do for a career. I knew that you're supposed to have a degree because that's what my generation was told. And also a high school diploma was worthless by the time I got one. And so I went to university. I went to a good school, and I went to science because, I mean, that'll look good on my resume, right? And
everyone says STEM.
And my uncle told me, so my uncle says, look, you're making a mistake. Go into business, learn business, because everything is business. I went, Uncle Skip. He's always pushing this business agenda, but I'm going to do science. And he was 100% right.
I didn't understand what business was.
No, it sounded boring. It sounded like wearing a suit.
Yeah.
I had no idea that business can be plumbing.
Be like literally anything.
It could be literally anything.
You can use business, like some of the best stuff I learned at BCIT when I was taking a development course. Was the mandatory business courses that came along with it, because they were like communications and other things like that. And I used those more than probably anything else I learned at school. I never used Java. I didn't program in Java professionally ever. And I don't know, but I used all the business courses.
Because so to the plumber example, you can be a plumber and you can make a salary. Or you can run a plumbing business and you can make, if you are successful, which will take some work, some luck, right? If you are successful, you can make many times a salary. And that was his point. Yeah. His point was, no matter what you do,
even if you go somewhere and earn a salary, you can use those things you learned in business to help accelerate your career. It's working within that organization and being useful within that organization can be amplified by understanding business stuff.
So yeah, that was a thing that changed my life, but I had
Sorry. PK7 said, I'm going to slightly modify. Oh no, it's exactly what he said. Or you can become a farmer and make a celery.
Do the thing.
I was thinking about it. My hand was hovering.
Where are we going with this? Okay, so the point is that he explained it to me. He told me everything that I'm telling you guys now. I have no new information than I had.
Yeah.
But what I have is knowledge, which is what I value a lot more than my car. We don't have any
we got some books.
We got
some Star Wars books.
The Jedi Path on the... Why is that there? Is that yours? Did you order that and forget it here or something?
I have no idea whose it is.
Why are there Star Wars books there? Do you want to get them?
They've been here forever.
Yeah, I don't know how long these have been here. You're sure they're not yours?
I don't.
Because you totally read trashy Star Wars literature, and you totally get your stuff shipped to the office.
I don't think I would have bought this, though.
How sure are you?
Not 100% sure, but if I did buy it, it would have been a long time ago.
It's yours. I don't care about it.
My set deck.
He'll read it.
From the camera angle we never use.
Are you sure it's not supposed to actually be set deck? I feel like I should probably leave it here.
I don't know why it's in cellophane then.
Fogel BR asks, I'll ask this here in Floatplane chat. Can you empathize with those of us who miss you being more unguarded like you were in the past? Now it seems like with Taryn being so guarded, part of the allure of getting to know Business Insider things is gone, which is one of the reasons I've been a fan. Am I being guarded right now?
I don't think Taryn being here would be the reason for that change. I also don't personally think Taryn is super guarded.
No.
To be honest, no. I think that's a misread.
Yeah, I mean, he's not as accessible.
Sure.
Because he's not on WAN show every week.
Sure, but that doesn't mean he's guarded.
No, it just means he's. But I can understand why they have the perception.
Sure, it's just I'm just pointing out there that I don't think it's true.
I'm pretty readily available. I am.
Yes.
Whenever I see a message somewhere about how impossible Linus is to get in touch with, I'm like, yo, you didn't try that hard.
Yeah.
I am not that hard to get my attention. It's possible that you had a terrible idea.
Easy to find.
And so I didn't acknowledge it, but I might have seen it. In fact, depending where you put it, I probably saw it. But I'll have people say how hard I am to get in touch with, and they literally haven't emailed the public email address on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
They haven't posted on the forum. They didn't even try.
I've had situations like that before with myself, and I don't even know if I'm as easy to contact as you are, but there's some pretty obvious ways to get a hold of me.
There are ones that don't work. I do not get notifications for DMs on Twitter, for instance.
Your DMs are open?
Yeah, but I don't look at them.
Yeah, see, mine a little harder. My DMs are not open.
Oh, okay.
But you can tweet at me.
Wow, are you just like too cool and too popular? It's like this guy, man. He's got his Steam friends offline by default because he's just too cool and popular, and people will like want to game with him because he's too cool. He's so popular.
Oh my goodness.
So I could never like find him in my list.
You can just favorite
I set you
people.
as a favorite. Yeah. Oh, so wow. So you think you deserve to be a favorite because you're too cool and popular.
You're favorited on mine.
Because you're too cool and popular to be ever online.
I don't search for you.
I see how it is.
My goodness.
I see how it is.
My goodness.
He's just too cool and popular. I mean, look, all we have to do is look at any kind of controversy, right? And it's like Linus bad, Luke cool and popular. Why does he hang out with that Linus guy?
Maybe it's because of actions and words.
Wow. See, he's mean. He just does it with a big smile. So you're all like, oh, Luke, he's so fun. That was mean. He hurt my feelings just now. No, I don't have feelings. I'm a narcissist. Or is a sociopath? Or what have I been accused of? No, just narcissism, right? Has anyone called me a sociopath yet? Probably.
I have no idea.
You know what? I'm going to search the channel.
There's a lot of words out there.
I'm gonna search the channel for comments that contain sociopath. You can't get out ahead of it. I'm going to do it too fast. What are we supposed to be doing right now?
I think we're still on the how does LTT make money topic.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Elijah had one more conversation question. Do you think being as transparent as we've been as a company has shot us in the foot?
Yeah.
Yes.
Has shot us in the foot for the future. This applies to several aspects: sponsor relationships, finances, product development, etc.
Oh no, none of that.
Not to
stuff.
those things, to be honest.
Yeah, no, just
mostly community stuff.
Yeah, no, it's always amazing to me to see people turn a W into an L. And take something like that video that we did, and it's fine to ask more questions. I understand why people are curious, right? But some people seem to be legitimately angry that we didn't say more, or that we didn't show more.
If you do it at all, you didn't do it far enough.
Yeah. Nah, off.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most people wouldn't have done this at all. Some people do it. There are other examples.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Beast is shockingly transparent. He doesn't have to be.
Yeah. Is he publicly traded yet? I thought did he do a private sale of stock?
Yeah, I think he sold privately.
Private sale?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's... I was going to talk about that earlier, how one of the reasons that we've never taken outside money is because of how much less of that internal tracking nonsense we have to do when the ownership is identical for all the companies.
Yeah.
So I can say, oh my goodness, we need a thing developed for LTT Store. Where on earth will I find a developer?
Yeah, the developers for LTT Store stuff, neither of them actually work for Linus Media Group.
Yeah, so, and that's something that I think we're probably going to do like a restructuring. That's a really scary word, but it's not going to be scary the way that we're doing it. We're going to be doing like a restructuring at some point where we take some departments whole. Okay, everyone chill. If you work here and you're watching this, chill.
The restructuring.
I know. So we take some departments in their entirety and then we shift what organization they actually work for. I think I might have even talked about this on WAN Show before, but we want to take some things like human resources, accounting, development,
like parent company them,
and make them a pooled resource like customer service.
Infrastructure.
Is there any good reason why we have
fragmented customer service,
a different customer service team for Floatplane and Creator Warehouse? I mean, everyone's job on both of those teams is basically to say yes. So, or say no if people are being completely unreasonable.
It's pretty rare.
I just mean the flows are pretty straightforward.
We actually say yes to a lot of very unreasonable things.
I know.
Just so you know.
I know. It's
that is the marching orders.
I had a long conversation with another creator many years ago about how obviously, we'd be in a position where regardless of our stated warranty policies, we'd be insane to step out of line in any way.
Yeah.
And, this long conversation was very well understood by the other creator at the time. And I don't know, somewhere along the line, someone got confused about it at some point. And we had the trust me bro controversy. But we'd be insane. I mean, look how look how explosive things are when we actually like don't harm anybody.
Yeah.
Name a name. Name someone who didn't get warranty coverage on their backpack. Name a name.
Me.
Really?
No.
Really?
All my
How many
carabiners
free
are
backpacks do you have?
2. 3.
Fucking guy.
I got it wrong.
Oh man.
Yeah. The one that I have that has the old carabiners, I think you even saw this. I'm on like a mission to not let them break. And the only time one of them even got close was a TSA agent like put their thumb right through it.
Is this just you like kind of doing that thing where like you just want the rare one no matter how much worse it is?
Probably.
Okay.
But yeah, I haven't replaced them. I totally could, obviously.
Yeah.
The new bag has them on it.
Yeah.
And they're great.
Yeah, they're better.
But my old ones they're fine.
Okay.
They still work.
Okay. Dyslexic Stoner 240 says, Linus, you didn't give me a warranty. I also don't have a backpack.
Nice.
Okay. What do you want to talk about next?
Oh, did I get it? Yes, I have the button, actually. Someone asked if I have the button. Do you have mine? Nice.
That invalidates what he did.
Yeah, I have the button, but I don't know.
All right. What are we supposed to be doing, Dan?
You could do
have any
another
idea?
topic, or we could move into some merch messages. Up to you.
No. It's not up to me. I don't decide these things.
Let's do some merch messages.
I'm not even the CEO anymore.
That's right.
But you're the vision man.
Yeah, what is your vision for this WAN show? Your vision could be, Dan, tell me what to do.
I always call him eyeball officer. I like it.
I call them the peepers.
What a weird thing to call someone.
The peepers is crazy.
What are the peepers thinking about today?
I've never heard that before. Wow.